Hello, my name is Rosalind Yearman and I am chair of the Madison Heights Community Roundtable. On behalf of our board of directors, I am pleased to introduce this Meet the Candidates video to allow you to get to know the candidates running for mayor and city council on Tuesday, November 2nd. It is important to vote, and it is just as important to be an informed voter. With that in mind, the Madison Heights Community Roundtable has offered the annual Meet the Candidates event to educate voters. While we did not feel it was safe to hold an in-person event this year, we did feel it was important to offer your candidates a forum to introduce themselves and their agendas. Candidates were asked to respond to the same 4 questions and to limit their responses to 5 minutes time. Responses were received from all of the candidates running for mayor and council seats on November 2nd. Also included is information on the Lanphier School's Millage Renewal. We also know that the Madison district has a bond proposal on the ballot.
Hello, I am Mayor Rosalind Grafstein, and I am asking for your vote on November 2nd to stay mayor. From my active participation in the EPA and EGLE meetings regarding the hexavalent chromium leak almost 2 years ago, and the subsequent push for a complete remediation and demolition of the buildings, to my work with the Crime Commission to reinstate the Special Investigations Unit and institute a hotel ordinance to reduce human trafficking and other crime at our hotels, I am continually working with groups both inside and outside of the city to keep our community members safe. Over the years that I have been on council, I have invested my time and energy participating in a variety of municipal courses with officials across the state. I have cultivated relationships with representatives in our surrounding communities so that we can work together to devise solutions for many of our common issues and ensure there is less duplication of resources when possible. Since joining the Planning Commission last year, I've been using my education experience and resources to slowly revise and update ordinances so that Madison Heights will be more attractive to developers and create the incentive needed for building owners to renovate and clean up more than just legally required. As a chartered financial analyst and economist working with small companies on business development, I understand the need for adaptation and compromise so that our residents and businesses in the city have the opportunity and resources they need to succeed. Properly vetted new projects that align with our community values will bring new jobs to the community and new channels of revenue to fund more city programs. When the weather is nice, I bike everywhere. So I easily recognize that increasing the walkability and non-motorized mobility of all our residents is a great way to improve quality of life for everyone. And it is one of the most innovative projects we can undertake. A few years ago, my mom, who was in Ontario, moved half a mile away from her house to a subdivision that gave her the freedom to not have to drive everywhere. Now she is 81 and she can walk to her local grocery store or to get her hair done or to see her doctor. We need to make sure that as our demographics change, city services adapt and we attract new businesses who can provide services that our seniors may require. This also includes working with different levels of law enforcement to protect our seniors from scam artists or others who prey on the elderly. We also need to ensure that we continue to be welcoming to young families starting out. New park projects we are working on that are ADA accessible and can be used by adults and children are a great way to engage all our residents regardless of age or ability. Because we are an inner ring suburb, there is very little land left for us to develop, and this in turn has stunted our economic growth and tax base. But this is why for the last year I have been meeting with businesses to see how we can become more attractive to investors interested in helping us redevelop so that they will bring new projects to Madison Heights, thus creating jobs, increasing our tax base, and spurring economic development while still keeping the character and community feel of Madison Heights that brought all of us here. We need to keep the pieces that keep us uniquely Madison Heights while strategically bringing on new projects that will help clean up blight and increase our tax revenue to pay for needed programs and staffing. We also need to be cognizant of the fact that research shows that due to more single-parent households and a drop in fertility, the size of the traditional family on which our city was founded has changed and is smaller. If I were to secure a one-time $1 million grant, I would put a portion aside for capital improvements and allocate the remainder to our department heads and boards for one-time funding as they see fit. If we were to receive an annual $1 million grant in perpetuity each fiscal year, I would put aside a portion for capital improvements with the rest towards additional personnel and resident programming with input from our department heads and boards. I would like to see improvements in public safety and senior and youth programs, as well as infrastructure enhancements to assist with rainwater runoff. Since I've been on council, we have added additional staffing positions to police, fire, and code enforcement, and we need to continue looking for grants and other funding opportunities to create more positions in these and other areas. I am thrilled that during my time on council, I have been able to find new grants and sponsors for rain gardens, a fitness court, recreation programs, and new city events. In the last year, these new grants and sponsors I have found have donated over $100,000 for programming and permanent installations, and I look forward to strengthening these relationships to create more private-public partnerships that benefit our residents. I invite you to visit Mayor Rosalind Grafstein on Facebook to see what I've been up to. Campaign information can be found at www.rosalindgrafstein.com or on Facebook, elect Mayor Rosalind Grafstein. You can always contact me directly at 248-716-4723 or mayorgrafstein@gmail. Thank you for your time, and please remember to vote for Rosalind Grafstein.
Hi, I'm Bill Muir, and I'm running for mayor of Madison Heights. I feel my experience as a leader in both my employment and volunteer work will help me be a strong leader for this city. As a software computer manager, I've had to manage people with diverse backgrounds, and I handle crisis situations quite frequently. I've been heavily involved in the community over the past several decades with countless hours of volunteer work. As an officer and commissioner for Little League Baseball and president and secretary of the Booster Club at Lamphur High School, I've raised over hundreds of thousands of dollars to help our city's youth be active in extracurricular activities. I've been elected to two terms as the Lamphur School Board, and I'm currently serving as treasurer. I've taken 13 classes, which is over 50 hours of training on school board training, and attended 235 extra credit hours of conferences and seminars on my own time. I recently, in May of this year, received a Level 3 Certified Board Member Certificate. Some of the projects that I would like to see us to enhance the life of citizens here in the city would be community policing, to establish a rapport between our police officers and our citizens. I'd also like to look for ways to utilize technology to help in policing the city. We also need to focus on projects that will draw our citizens to the parks and recs that we have spent a great deal of money on in the last several years on upgrading. We need to find ways to utilize those upgrades. Some of the challenges that we are facing is how to reduce the crime rate in the city. We need to make this a safer place to raise our families, make our seniors feel more comfortable at home, and promote economic development to help expand the city's budget. But most importantly, we need to work together to meet these challenges, to be successful at enhancing the life and keep this city a city of progress. The mayor is just one voice in that process, but I will work very hard to make sure that all our voices are heard and we work together and meet these challenges. If I received $1 million grant, I would use it to foster community policing, finding technology to help reduce the crime rate and make our city a safer place. I know we cannot put an officer on every corner, but we need to find a way for our citizen concerns to be heard and to give our police tools to be more effective. In closing, I'd like to thank the Madison Heights Community Roundtable for their opportunity to meet the candidates. Please remember to vote on November 2nd, and I would appreciate you voting for me for mayor. I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve the citizens of this great city of Madison Heights. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Toya Aaron, and I'm running for City Council for the City of Madison Heights.
What makes you qualified for a seat on the City Council?
I believe that I am the most qualified candidate to represent the citizens of Madison Heights. I have been a resident of Madison Heights for 13 years. I have a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology, which is the scientific study of human behavior in organizations and workplace. I have excellent leadership skills and the knowledge to develop organizations. I have the ability to identify training and development needs. I am skilled in assessing people preferences, providing customer satisfaction, designing and optimizing work to achieve a higher quality for work-life balance, and developing marketing strategies within the areas I have served.
What are your thoughts as to what innovative projects would enhance life in this area?
I am working with members of the DDA and notice a few blight areas and empty buildings. With Madison Heights being one of the new, trendiest places in Michigan, it would only be fitting to develop flash retail shops in our downtown area. Taking those empty commercial buildings, aligning John R., and converting them to an economic catalyst, offering local and or small business owners the opportunity to rent spaces for a day or more at a low cost, while giving them the option to become permanent shop owners. I would also partner with the Adult Activity Center to develop free transportation system via the use of shuttle buses or volunteer groups for seniors and the disabled that will assist them with doctor appointments, shopping, and more. With the unexpected pandemic, we found it necessary to alter our normal way of living, and those most affected were our seniors, our disabled, and our youth. So I would want to utilize every tool available whereby individuals who fall into those categories could possibly save money because they are no longer dependent upon transportation companies or vendors for assistance.
What are the most important challenges facing the community?
I feel there are two. The first being our safety. Our safety grade is declining. Currently, we rank at the 48th percentile ranking when it comes to being safe. And our homes are 300% more likely to be robbed without a home security system. And this is according to crimegrade.org. This was not the case a few years ago. Madison Heights has seen an increase in property crimes in the last 5 years, and I will work with our police officers and the Crime Commission to decrease and eradicate this issue. Secondly, there is a lack of family community. There need to be more opportunities for families to come together and create memories. Madison Heights should be a city where generations of families have lived for years and years to come, yet being a continuing place of residency for those who have been here all of their lives.
If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city in any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
$1 million. My biggest dream for the city is to build a community center, one that meets the needs of everyone, including our youth, our seniors, and our disabled residents. I already have a building in mind that will be perfect if it were to ever become vacant. I visualize residents using the community center where they will have access to educational resources, learning how to use technology, offering free computer courses, offering free trade skills and free job trainings, being a public resource information center, having an indoor swimming pool, basketball rims. This center will be a place where lifelong friendships will be developed.
What makes you qualified for a seat on the council?
My experience working and volunteering within the city, county, and federal government. I have worked as a teen at the City of Oak Park, Michigan's Recreation Department. I served 8 years in the United States Army, and I have volunteered at the City of Southfield and Oakland County Emergency Management Divisions. I am a graduate of Madison Heights Citizens Academy, and I have been a commissioner on the city's Human Relations and Equity and Historical Commissions. Within the community, I have been the commander of a VFW post right here in Madison Heights, Michigan. I have served as the VFW's 5th District Legislative Chairman, And finally, I have been the Vice President of the Michigan chapter of AT&T Veterans.
What are your thoughts as to what innovative projects would enhance life in this area?
I would like to enhance the parks and recreation with more activities, not just for families, but also for seniors and disabled persons. An example of this would be concerts in the park, senior social events and exercise groups, activities for disabled people. And I would like to work and collaborate with outside organizations and nonprofits to help with these events.
What are the most important challenges facing the community?
One of the most challenges we face in Madison Heights is financial hardship due to the pandemic and seniors who are living on fixed incomes. We're seeing lots of blight and deteriorated neighborhoods. I want to help those in need. And we also need to have a humanistic yet effective code enforcement.
If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city in any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
If I were to receive a $1 million grant, I would use that money to start a grant program for those who are financially hardshiped and senior citizens who are on fixed incomes to help them do home repairs and home improvements and other projects.
What makes you qualified for a seat on the City Council?
Hello, my name is Bob Gettings. I've been your councilman for over 9 years. I am currently serving and hope to receive your vote for re-election. I've lived in Madison Heights for over 50 years and I know the city well. While serving on the City Council, I've participated in over 250 council, budget, and special meetings, missing only 2. I have an extensive background in the recreation area. I was employed in the recreation department from 1975 to 2001. I've spent countless hours as a volunteer coach and have served on various boards throughout my tenure. I've also served 8 years as a Madison School Board trustee. I believe I'm qualified to be on the City Council because I have experience to serve. I have a vast knowledge of city government and know how it works. I pride myself in the ability to work together with people as a team. I always listen carefully to an issue. All my team members weigh the facts and make careful, well thought out decisions.
Bob, what are your thoughts as to what innovative projects would enhance life in this area?
To enhance life in the city of Madison Heights, I feel it's important to continue to offer programs and schedule events that have been successful in the past, such as festivals in the park, Memorial Day Parade, and the annual tree lighting. This past year, I've been in support of new innovative programs, the Juneteenth celebration and the return of Trail Tunes for its 2nd year. I feel it's important to keep bringing these kinds of events to our city. Thank you.
What are the most important challenges facing our community?
I feel one of the most important challenges facing our community is to keep Madison Heights as the kind of city that people want to call home. With that being said, we are responsible to make that continue. Madison Heights is a great city. We need to work together to make sure this greatness of our city continues.
Bob, if you received a $1 million grant to use for our city in any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I believe that $1 million grant would best be spent helping homeowners struggling to pay their property taxes stay in their home. I realize a program like this would be difficult to administer. However, it would be a benefit not only for the homeowner, but also for the city as well. Thank you.
Madison Heights and Madison Heights Roundtable. Thank you for sponsoring this virtual type debate for this campaign season. With COVID, it's understandable. It's turning into a very unique situation that we're all trying to handle and challenged by it, but I think it'll make us stronger. I think to start off, what makes me qualified is that I've been on council for almost 8 years, and I think we've done a tremendous job making the city a better place to live and raise a family. And I think that we provided an enormous amount of increased public safety in terms of police and fire. We started an SIU unit. We're breaking down the problems and situations of human trafficking in the hotels, and we're doing a fantastic job with that. And I think all our city services have improved tremendously. We have a great staff that helps out and does a fantastic job. So I think some of the challenges, though, that we still face is with public safety, particularly violent crime. And I think we can really improve even more on that because it is such a challenge in all cities. And I think we have a great police chief, and our staff, the police officers, do a fantastic job. And also in terms of the medical side, which I was a EMT at one time, but that public safety is critical as well. And those are challenges that we have to face because people are getting sicker, and then there are events that happen like COVID that put stresses on our system, but we did overcome it. But that is still something in the future, I think, that we still need to work on and improve even more than we have already. If I had to do a $1 million grant, I think I would put that $1 million towards renovation of a new City of Madison Heights campus, where all the city services are kind of together as one, rebuilding the active adult senior center with this, the new library. I think that's just a fantastic idea. Our city manager really made that into fruition, where it's gonna really take off, and that's where I would use that $1 million grant. But I'm going to back up because some of the innovative projects that I think we need to do is more city services where they become more efficient. I think we do a great job in terms of the finance and the budget. We're always within line with that. But some of all those challenges is these they call legacy costs, where employees from the city retire, and so they have pensions which they earned and they deserve. But those are challenges that we have to really plan out and strategize. And we have in the process of doing that already with the city manager who's been here a while and understands the dynamics of that. So again, thank you for having me speak on behalf of my campaign to run for City Council. And I look forward to knocking on your door and having a conversation, see how we can help, how I can help, how the city can help. Because that's the main purpose that I'm running, is I really want to help out. There's been lots of projects. Each council member has certain type of projects that they work on. I myself have had a few. It was the diaper bank, and then there was I did some reports on child maltreatment and poverty, just trying to create some type of awareness of what's going on. And so I think that I have the experience and knowledge and fortitude to really continue to make another difference with the city in all different ways. Again, I lean heavily on public safety because that is my background, and my son is also just a newly deputized sheriff deputy in Oakland County, and so that's really it wasn't my primary focus at the beginning, and it still continues to be that because I just feel that the residents deserve the best in terms of safety to raise a family and enjoy all the parks that we have, and I think that's the main reason that I hope to get reelected. And I hope that's what the residents see in the last 8 years, and I hope they continue to elect me in office this November so I can continue what I've been doing for the last 8 years. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Quinn Wright, and I'm running for City Council. What makes me qualified to run for City Council? My wife and I have lived in this city for over a decade. We started our family here. We now have 3 immensely smart and courageous little girls who know no other home other than Madison Heights. I believe I'm uniquely qualified because of my personal and professional experience. I was raised by 2 union parents, preachers, coaches, law enforcement officers, and other community members that taught me the importance of service. Additionally, I have a 15-year career in supply chain, which taught me the importance of how to deal with complex problems in addition to short-term solutions. Now, more importantly, I work with people on a personal level as a financial advisor, and I understand the importance of taking care of those things like family, community, and also being a modern candidate, focusing on modern problems and things of the future, like preparing for future natural disasters with things like flooding from the rain or backups when we have issues like our sewers than we did in the past, and sustainability, dealing with having a more green environment. Those are some of the reasons why I feel like I'm the best candidate to run for City Council. Some of the innovative projects I'd like to see us do are incorporate renewable energies, taking advantage of solar power for lighting, for buildings, and things of that nature, not just for the renewable energy portion of it, but because, as we've all experienced, we do have power outages more than we would like. And if we had some things, some buildings, some lights that rely more on renewable energy like solar panels, that would create opportunities for us to have places for people to gather in cases of those extreme emergencies, and also opportunity for us to save costs over the long term. Because as we amortize costs over the long term, I believe that renewable energy is going to be the way to go, not only to stop us from relying on energy and things like that when things go wrong, but also to be prepared for a future society. One of the things that I definitely want to do is make sure we're modernizing our community to prepare for the world not only today, but going forward into tomorrow. If you ask me, one of the biggest problems that we're having in this neighborhood is some of the bigger problems that we're facing in this nation, which is the growing divide amongst neighbors. You know, one of the reasons that I ran for City Council was because I felt that divide in the community, knowing that there were the folks who kind of knew each other, and there were the rest of us who just kind of went about our business and wanted to bridge that divide. And that's why one of the things that I'm proposing is a Neighbor First campaign, where we pledge to first get to know our neighbors, look out for our neighbors like we used to do back in the day. Instead of looking out for our party and looking out for our causes, we say, hey, just like the Madison Heights Citizens United Glad to Be Your Neighbor campaign I was a part of, we say, you're my neighbor first before I'm a part of a party, and I'll look out for you like you look out for me. And I think if we do that, we can help each other to take care of our properties. We can help each other to deal with the issues we face, the greater issues like dealing with the animal control and other issues, if we put our neighbors first and say, hey neighbor, I'm glad to be your neighbor first. You know, it's no secret that $1 million doesn't go as far as it used to, particularly when you're talking about a city of over 35,000 people. If I were given a grant to use in any way I chose for the city, I would split it up 3 ways, and I would give it a third to DPS, a third to Parks and Recreation, and I would give a third to our law enforcement. And we'll go in reverse order. The first third I would give to law enforcement, dedicated to hiring more officers dedicated to community service and building community engagement. I think it's important not just for the folks who feel comfortable with the police, but for the folks who feel uncomfortable to have those bridges and know that they can trust law enforcement in a time of need. Secondly, I think it's incredibly important that we make sure our parks are accessible to our families and friends with special needs in the community. And finally, I think that the Department of Public Service needs a little additional funds as well to help keep the community clean, safe, and organized, and to also to deal with things like plowing the streets and natural disasters as they occur. It's really also important for us to be innovative and think about ways to address mental health and advancing that. And I would also make sure that through those three organizations that we donated to, that we were making an effort to address mental health in the community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Councilman Mark Bliss, and thank you so much to the Roundtable for allowing me to answer these questions for you. And thank you for tuning in and allowing me to share with you why I think you should definitely still write me in this November. Now, the thing that makes me qualified to serve on City Council, I don't think that's an easy question, but my dad always used to say that you judge a challenger by what they say that they would have done differently than the incumbent, and you judge the incumbents not based on anything that they say, but based on what they've done. And so in my time on council, I never wasted a meeting. I made sure to give it my all the time. And so that meant when I would go through the budget, I went through every line item in the budget. And every single year I'd find a little bit of money, usually just a few $1,000s, that I could redistribute into quality of life programming. Now, it's not big changes, but little changes matter. And so we were able to do things like putting bathrooms in every park during the summer. So that way an entire family wouldn't have to go home because one child had to go to the bathroom. I also was able to make sure that we had some excitement in the city by creating 2 brand new boards that made huge impact in the community. Our arts board, which has brought murals and programs and all sorts of fun things into our city. And then our technology board, ITAC, that has helped modernize City Hall with technology and even reviewing things like whether or not we should have police body cams. And so those 2 boards have brought a lot of excitement and a lot of energy, and I'm proud to have created them. I'm also proud that we are now at the highest level of investment in our parks and public safety that we have been since the Great Recession. Now, the projects that I think would enhance quality of life here are all to do with bringing the community together. You know, back when I grew up here, we had so many chances. We had 3 summer festivals, we had fairs, we had haunted houses, we had all sorts of stuff. And I think my kids and yours deserve that same type of community, that same type of connectedness that, you know, we had here back in the day. And so I did a lot of work on that. And I'm not letting budget limitations or even the pandemic stand in our way. We can get creative as we did. Honestly, I was blessed to co-chair the Trail Tunes Festival both last year and this year. And that's a perfect example because we didn't have any taxpayer dollars. We raised everything through donations and hard work with a team of incredible volunteers. And we were able to bring that festival so I could take my kids to a summer festival and listen to live music here in the park in Madison Heights. And that's what it's going to take for us to keep going. And that's what it's going to take for us to move forward and build community again like we used to. Now, the biggest challenge facing our community is actually economic development, or redevelopment as the case may be, because our community has been fully built out for decades. And so what we need to do is take older buildings and turn them into new buildings and new businesses that would attract and bring people into the community. But we can't wave a magic wand. There's no city council magic that allows us to pick a particular business and put it in a particular location. But what I've been hard at work doing as the council rep on the planning commission is doing things like redoing our master plan for the first time in 20 years. recommending zoning changes, allowing us to cut some of the red tape in City Hall, and in creating ordinances that make it easier to do business here. So that way we can attract businesses like Woodpile and Cadillac Straits Brewery into this city because they've been great for us, and I want more businesses like that. Finally, if I received $1 million grant to use in the city any way that I want, a third of it I'd send to public safety because without a safe community, nothing matters. A third I'd give to a quality of life investment like a library expansion or a splash pad. And the last third I'd give as a tax cut because every little bit helps, especially for those that are on fixed incomes. Now, in its closing, as a third generation lifelong resident of Madison Heights, getting to serve this community has been the blessing of my life. But I need your help for me to keep serving. When you get your ballot this year, I need you to find the open space and fill in this bubble and then write my name in next to it. It's a two-step process, and I'd be so appreciative if you consider taking those 2 steps and writing my name in this November. Thank you.
Lanphier residents, the Lanphier Board of Education approved ballot language for a millage renewal proposal for the November 2nd election, since our current operating millage expires in June of 2022. The revenue from this millage levy is critical and will provide continued funding for general operating needs of the district, and we are asking citizens to vote on a 10-year renewal. If approved, this would result in a reduction from the 19.75 mils voted on in 2011 to an authorized 19.25 mils beginning in 2022. The renewal also includes levying 18 mils on non-homestead property. The Board of Education has been and will continue to be committed to balancing the budget without increasing tax rates. You may recall that Lanphier eliminated all debt that was paid by our taxpayers and is one of only 2 districts within Oakland County that has no debt. Please vote on Tuesday, November 2nd, and thank you for your continued support.
We hope this video has been useful in learning about the candidates. Feel free to share it with others, and remember to register and to vote on Tuesday, November 2nd. Thank you.